Okay, great. It's now just gone 1900 hours, so let's get started. So, thanks very much, everyone, for joining. I know we've got people here from various places. Yeah, not sure if there's any overseas ones. Can't quite see, but I know we've got some from Sydney and Gold Coast, so different places around Australia at least. So I'm Philip, business development scientist here at Food Entrepreneurship Academy, and it's great to have you all along for our book launch. So first of all, though, just want to give a really brief introduction to who we are, what we do, and we're basically basically, as you can see on our flyer on the left there, we're committed to food entrepreneurs. So we work with really early stage people who have an idea for. Hey, Naishad, you're not muted.
Oh.
Yeah, who have an idea for a new food product, but don't have any background, so they come from a different area and things like that. And so we basically work with them, guide, support, mentor, all the way through from the really early stage, from their concept idea stage, right up until it comes onto the market and they see it on their on the store shelves. So our flyer on the left, you can see some examples of products that we've developed for our clients over the past, this year and the past couple of years. So 2020, that's a pre-workout popsicle for a guy in Phoenix, Arizona, in the US. And the middle one is also out of a father and son entrepreneurship team in the US, based across Florida and Texas. And then 2022 there, we've got the Good Seed Kefir. We brought that product to launch for them, and they scored $1 million deal out of Coles with it. And we also do shelf life extension projects and basically anything in between. So, labeling and regulatory aspects and all kinds of things, really. And I've got a picture there of one of the prototypes that we actually produced ourselves during one of the chocolate projects we worked on. So, overview of the session. So I'm giving you a bit of an introduction, taking you through the book to start with. Then we have our guest speaker, who is Lynda Roach, a nutritionist from 24 Carat Health, who'll be spending some time on her particular expertise and interest on from the nutrition perspective on certain types of food products. And then we have our Academy director, Naishad, who will take us through some strategy aspects on developing a food product. So the background to the book is that so this is our second edition. The first one was kind of a bare bones approach, really, where this time we've really fleshed it out and put a whole lot of new information and basically increased it in size by 50%. So at the front we've got all this new information on food science and nutrition, so key background information that we didn't have last time, just to really ensure that you're up to speed on those sort of elements that are quite critical. We think the critical elements to enable you to speak the lingo and really fit into this this space. And then we've also got a section on how innovations in food science and agriculture can actually contribute to overcoming significant global challenges. So that's really putting into context these projects into the really big picture context. And also we've got some interviews with current and former food entrepreneurs that people have suggested that would be really good to include as well, just to show where these people have come from and what their perspective is. So really this book is for food entrepreneurs and those that are aspiring to be. And it's meant to be an online, an ongoing reference guide. So something that you can refer to. It's not just a read it and forget sort of thing, but it's more of a it's really a reference guide, reference book that you can come back to as you go through your journey, because there'll be some parts that are relevant at the start, middle, at the end, and then you'll certainly come back to different parts as you encounter different elements and different aspects that you really want to need to revise or get a bit more information on as you go through. And then we'll be going into the actual book, bit of a section by section, chapter by chapter overview, just to give you a feel for it. So yeah, so the first edition we launched April 2020, and the background to that was basically as the early stages of the pandemic was taking a foothold. The idea was that a lot of people were spending more time at home. There were lockdowns that were occurring around the world, and this might be a chance for people to try out some of their home recipes and any innovations that they in the cooking space that they had in mind that they might want to actually commercialize and take through to a manufacturing setting. So that was the whole impetus for the first edition, and that was how it was born back in April 2 years ago. So now we've really expanded it, and therefore the new title, Science of Business of Food Entrepreneurship, really reflects the broader scope of the book now compared to before, where it was really very much focused on just the actual process of developing new food products, whereas now there's broader topics that are actually involved in it. So an important consideration is, who is it for, who should use it, and why, really. So basically, anyone that is thinking or aspiring to commercialize a manufactured food product. So, food entrepreneurs, those aspiring to be, those at the really early stages. So, actual manufacturers that are at really early stages, or in the startup stage. So basically, anyone who wants a ready reference guide, something that they can have as a one-stop one-stop shop, really, for anything that they want to read on these topics. Because there's a whole lot of information out there. There's so many people are telling so many things about so many topics, really, not just food entrepreneurship. And we've really tried to bring our insights, bring our expertise into this book, but also, bring the insights of others. So people that have gone before you and have been successful in doing that by having their contributions, to really inspire what you want to do. But also we've got, we've also included some of our own videos, but we've selected, key videos off YouTube that we think are really important as well. To back up and support the types of information that we're presenting, because there's just so much information, as we all know, and it can be hard to know what's good, what's trustworthy, what's just downright wrong, at times. So, as I've already said, it's designed as a reference guide. You refer to different sections as and when you need them, and certain sections, certain types of products will be relevant at different points in time and all that sort of thing. So it's meant to be something that you can refer to. And it's just now up as of tonight. I've put it up for purchase on on one of our related sites, foodmicrobiology.academy/shop. So that's where it's currently at the moment. It might move from there, but that's our existing online store where it's currently up for sale for $24.95. Yeah, so that's the slides that I want to show. So what I want to do now is spend a few minutes going. Last 4 minutes, just briefly skimming through the book. So section 1 is where we go through. So this is a completely brand new section which we didn't include before, where we have essential concepts of food science, food technology, and nutrition. So really, this is organized by nutrient types, so by macronutrients, and it talks about the important aspects from the nutrition perspective, but also talks about more scientific and technological aspects as well. So the scientific aspects, such as types of amino acids and their structure and that sort of thing, but also how you can actually use some of these nutrients, proteins, lipids, carbohydrates in foods, and to your advantage in certain types of food products. So take this carbohydrate one, for example, this carbohydrate section where we have structure, what actually are they, then an important part on dietary fiber, but then physical functionality of starch, because that is really an important aspect of how starch is used in different types of food products. So gelatinization, for example, is an important, really key element of texture of foods, and the types of starch that you use and the types of gelatin, or the actual gelatinization temperature, is really key to that texture. So we've got lipids and then also micronutrients and of course water. Now this is the section. This is a section that was in the original book, and is we go through it in basically the 4 stages of food product development, where we go through the strategy, design and development, where we actually have top examples from everyday products which are locally available here in Australia, with links in this case to one of our videos where we've compared nutrition information labels from the US and Australia, and then I'm sort of fast tracking through this, but here in this particular section here is where we go through interviews. So we actually have a bit of Q&A with entrepreneurs that we've already been through from 3 continents: Australia, or Oceania, North America, and we've got Rashid and Pooja from Mumbai, who are answering the questions on video. Then this section here is what I was talking about with the special topics. And these actually are those, we talk about food security and antibiotic resistance and those sorts of things, and different protein sources and that, and how these new food products can fit into these global challenges. And then links here to many of the direct links to many of the videos that we've got on our YouTube channel. So you've got all of these in a nice convenient location. So that's basically what the book is, and overview of the session, and who we're really appealing to with this particular book. And with that, I shall stop right there and hand over to Lynda. So I'm sure you can give any appropriate introduction, Lynda, that you want to give about yourself. But we're really privileged to have Lynda, because she's got great knowledge, great understanding, and is also very accomplished speaker. And so we really look forward to what insights Lynda can impart on us tonight. So yeah, take it away, Lynda. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Philip. And you give me a lot to live up to now, so no pressure. So I better make this one good. Yeah, I'm Lynda Roach. I'm the owner of 24 Carat Health, and Philip and I have known each other for a while, and we have a lot of similar thoughts on where food should be going and quality of food and the origins of food. So the one thing that we both came up with that we were interested in is functional foods. Now, we're going to look at, are these just a fad? Are they like a flash in the pan, the next thing that is going to fizzle out? Or are these a long-term future for food? As a nutritionist, I'll always guide my clients to eat fresh food, fresh fruit and vegetables. Get your food as basic as you can so you can see what you're eating. If you can, grow it yourself. If you can't, get it organic, so you know what's in and on your food. That's the primary thing I'm going to drive my clients towards. Now, in a perfect world, we'd make all our own sauces and condiments and our own snacks, and we'd be this lovely wholesome thing like our grandmothers used to do, where they'd make everything from scratch. That's how you really get to improve your health. But we live in the real world and we know that doesn't happen. So we are going to eat processed foods. So we need to look at how do we shoehorn those in to our diet so that they're not harmful and indeed can be helpful, which is where functional foods come in. So many chronic illnesses are caused by diet and lifestyle, and the main driver is diet. You can have what on the surface appears to be a very healthy lifestyle, but if your diet isn't backing that up, then you are going to fall ill. My particular area of interest is pro-aging, and I'm in that sort of aging category. I mean, we all are technically, but yes, I'm at the pointy end. And I really dislike all the anti-aging messages, you can stay young forever, hold off time and all this sort of thing. I believe that we should age as nature intended. Unfortunately, at the moment, we tend not to age as nature intended, because nature intended us to be fit and healthy well into our later years. But we've normalized being ill as we age. And I think that's what people fear. They sort of look at things like type 2 diabetes, and it's, the pre-diabetic stage, hypertension, so high blood pressure, cognitive decline. I mean, who out of us doesn't know somebody who's been diagnosed with dementia or Alzheimer's? It seems to be growing and growing at a frightening rate. Arthritis, we kind of accept that all these things are going to come to us as we age. That's not really an attractive proposition. And I don't believe that that's inevitable. And the key to that is our diet, like controlling what goes into our bodies. Now, a lot of my clients are, as I say, they're of the similar age to myself, so sort of 50s plus. And they've seen their parents go down this route where they just pop a pill for everything. And, they wake up in the morning and they've got the schedule of pills to take. And they don't want to go down that road. They want to use diet to really improve their lifestyle. They're aware of the possible harmful effects of processed food. They know that if you over-process food, then it's doing you harm. It's not even, doing you any good. It's actually doing your body harm. It's not even neutral. Likewise, they've heard of superfoods, these amazing little bits of food that nature has packed so much into, that they're amazing and they're like the answer to everything. But functional foods kind of sit somewhere in between. And I'm just going to test my tech skills and see if I can share my screen here. Oop, and I've said that, and now it's not allowing me to share. I knew this would happen. Bear with me just a moment while I get my tech sorted. Here we go. So we're going to look at two different types of functional food. We've got conventional and we've got modified. So the conventional, as the photo would indicate, is actually what nature does. So when we talk functional foods, the term functional food was coined in the 1980s in Japan. So it's not a new thing. It's gained popularity recently, but it's definitely not a new thing. In fact, we've been fortifying food since the 1930s. So nature has been doing it for well before that. So this is not a fad. So we can get that out of the picture. This is definitely here to stay because we've been doing it for so long, both naturally and producing fortified foods. The term fortified foods, as coined by the Japanese, means that a food that gives an additional health benefit above and beyond nutrition. So we eat these sort of foods just to keep our bodies ticking over. We have to. Every cell needs energy. We need protein for tissue repair. We need food just to keep ourselves ticking over. But functional foods are different in that they do keep us ticking over. They give us something extra. They have a specific health benefit. And this can benefit a particular condition or a particular part of the body. Think foods that are good for the immune system, or as we mentioned, cognitive function, which is a big concern at the moment. Foods that help your joints or your heart health or your liver to function correctly. Most of us know someone who's done a liver cleanse, and that helping liver function is a big concern at the moment, especially with all the things that we're exposed to in our general day-to-day life. So these are things that have like a targeted ingredient, such as antioxidants or plant sterols for heart health, omega-3 for the cognitive benefits, vitamin C for the immune system. These are the sort of foods we're talking about. So we'll have a look at what nature gives us. So in fruits, we've got things like your berries that give us all the antioxidants. So yes, they are good for energy, but they also give us the antioxidants. Kiwi fruits, which are an amazing source of vitamin C, actually way more so than oranges, oddly enough, and we all think oranges for vitamin C. Yeah, so this is what nature is giving us, a little bit extra, a bit more bang for our buck with these foods. Our vegetables, we've got kale, and I'm probably one of the few nutritionists who really don't like kale. I know it's really good for you. In fact, all the leafy greens, you've got your vitamin K, you've got B vitamins, you've got your fiber. They don't just feed our bodies on a basic level. They give us this extra thing to keep us really in tip-top health. You've got your nuts, seeds, and legumes, and almonds, and all the seeds, etc. They give us those wonderful oils, the natural oils that help our body so much. Chia seeds are an amazing source of omega-3. That's just nature just giving us that little helping hand with these foods. Just in case something's going wrong, it's keeping us on track. The other thing we've got is the modified foods, and I don't know what's going wrong with my slide there because there should be another photo on it. But these are the ones where we do a processed food and then we add something in. Now that added in could be because we've destroyed it in processing it and now it's got little nutritional benefit and we have to add it in, or it could be just that it's a handy way of getting something extra into our bodies. So examples of these are things like yogurt, and yes, I do say yogurt, not yogurt, because I'm a POM, that's how we say it. When you have yogurt in the early stages, yes, it has all those lovely bacteria in that we need, but then we heat treat it in the processing and it kills them off. So then we go and we actually put more back in. So that's an example of having to add it because we've destroyed it. But we also do things like, throw berries into there for the antioxidants. So that's giving it a little bit extra. You've got grains. Grains in Australia, the wheat flour has to be fortified with folate because they found that neural tube defects were common in low folate. So they said, add that into the grains, and then that'll give us really healthy babies. So you get that whether you want it or not. And because they process the flour so much, it loses some of the fiber. So now we're actually got to the point where we're adding fiber in just to make it healthy again. So that's an extra thing that we now need to do. Salt, we've got iodine added to salt because many years ago, they realized that you have thyroid issues in a low iodine diet. So they decided to add it in to avoid that. And when you go for the non-dairy milks, which are becoming more and more common now with the lactose intolerance, depending on what they're made from and the processing, quite often you can lose a lot of the goodness. So you've got things like vitamin D and calcium being added into those. But these are still processed foods. When we're looking at the modified ones and the ones that, they are a processed food, but we add something in, they still have that stigma of being processed. What's the middle ground then? Because I say I advocate for fresh food, but I eat processed food as well. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite. So I won't tell my clients you have to eat all fresh. I understand that we do need the processed forms of some foods. So how do we ensure we're getting the best that we can? We don't need processed foods, processed modified foods, functional foods to be healthy. Nature gives us everything that we need in our fruits, vegetables, fats, proteins, etc. But our lifestyles are such that we're not going to be sitting there making sauces and condiments and snacks and everything, making everything from scratch like Granny used to. So it's a fact of life we are going to need to have some processed foods. I know when I eat processed foods that what I'm doing is I'm looking for the best I can in that category. What's something that's got genuine health benefits? Not just the flash labels and the slick marketing, but a genuine health benefit. As a nutritionist, that's what I'm going to push for. That's what I look for. That's what I ask my clients to look for. It's got to be something that doesn't just satisfy my taste buds, but satisfies my health. And there's a big difference. We're dealing with an increasingly educated public. They like to research, and there are a lot of avenues out there that they can actually find the information they need on the internet. They're questioning that a pill for everything scenario that their parents and other older generations did. They're not likely to just take the doctor's word as read. Before the doctor would say, "Oh, you need a pill for that." Now they're going, "No statins, and I don't want a tablet for my high blood pressure. I want to do this naturally. I want to do it with food." But they also want the quick fix. They don't want to be told that they have to make everything from scratch. So we've got this middle ground where they will eat processed food, but they will do the research to make sure it's the best that it can be and it's not detrimental to their health. Now, these foods can also be very fad-like. So there is an element of the fad in these. You have social media influencers that will push their particular thing, and they want us to, to eat this new, acai berry powder and everything because it's the biggest thing on the market at the moment. People will go past that quite quickly. So what they're actually looking at is a food that doesn't take much effort, but it has a solid backing, that's something they can get into their life and use on a daily basis that is going to really improve their health long term. Now, let's have a look at what we've established so far. So functional foods are here to stay. They've been here since the 1930s. We've only started calling them functional foods since the 80s. Even that is decades old. So we really do need to look at this category, especially the processed functional foods, as a definite future of food production. We don't need functional foods in a balanced diet, or don't need processed functional foods in a balanced diet because we can get everything from nature. But we will use them because basically our lifestyles dictate that we will. So it's an inevitable thing that even the most adamant person, like nutritionist or along those lines, will at some point be eating some sort of processed food, even if it's like the new RCI powder, etc. And it is definitely a growing market. And I'm going to share some figures with you towards the end of this to show you just how much that is growing. Sorry. Jumped a bit too far ahead then. Yeah, so what we're looking at is to get these past someone like me, who's going to really be looking at these foods critically, and to get them past an educated public, what do we need to be looking for in these foods? The first thing is they need to be minimally processed, because as we've said, people know that heavily processed foods is not good for you. You're not getting all the nutrition that you really need. You know, there just isn't the, like that bang for your buck, if you like, in the food. And it could actually be doing you harm. There's a lot of things like emulsifiers, etc., that I'm sure that Philip is well up on, and I said that, you know, they actually can be quite damaging because they emulsify fats, which we need for our own digestion, and exit them through the body. So we need it minimally processed, but still to be able to last a fair length of time because we want the shelf life. So it's a little bit of a balancing act, that one. We also want natural additives. We know, yes, you're going to have to add something into the food to, you know, make it taste nice, etc. But we want it natural, or as close to natural as we can get. So the ones where, you know, they've had quite a lot of popularity, the wrong sort, a bit of notoriety, we don't really want those in our food. Now we're moving away from them. So we want to get as close to nature as we possibly can with these foods. And that's, you know, that's what's going to really sell them to the general public. Oops, sorry, I'm just... The other thing, and this is where Philip and the Academy really come into their own, and this is his bag more than mine, is it needs to be backed up by science. A lot of people make a lot of wild claims about foods. You look on the internet and like everything that comes out is apparently the best thing since sliced bread, and it's going to make your health amazing and you're going to live till you're 150. Some people will buy that, but increasingly, especially people around my generation, are going, you know what, no, I'm a little bit cynical now. I've been there, I've done that, I've seen what's happened. I want the hard science to back this up. And some of the more popular products and the ones that have longevity in the market are the ones that really emphasize the science. Part of what my practice is about is educating people on their body. I have a program that I'm about to launch that's to do with getting to know your body. I call it your body as a car. And it's about getting to know your body as a machine and what fuels it and what damages it. And when people understand that, they then have the tools to make good choices in their life. And I believe that with functional foods, this is kind of what you need. You need to educate the public on specifically why this added ingredient is good for you. Don't just say it's good for heart health. People have heard that 1,000 times. Why is it good for heart health? If you want an example of this, look at plant sterols. We can just eat plant sterols. That's not a problem. Or you can buy a highly processed spread with plant sterols added that's good for your heart health. Personally, that's not my bag. I'll go butter every time, but yeah, it's clearly worked. They've had good advertising, lots of education about why plant sterols are good for you. It's all out there. You know, the Heart Foundation are on board, and people now use that sort of spread on a daily basis. It's part of their normal life now. So it's got longevity as a product. So if you keep your product minimally processed, keep everything in it as natural as possible, especially the additives, people are very sensitive to it, back it up with hard science and education. And that's the sort of product that would get me as a nutritionist to recommend to my clients, and will get your savvy consumer to actually purchase it. Now, these are the figures that I found when I looked at the CSIRO. When they looked at this in 2018, the market for fortified foods, functional foods, was 6.7 billion, 2.7 billion export, 4 billion domestic consumption. They project on the figures that they have that this market will grow to 9.7 billion by 2030. That's only 8 years away. And that's 4.2 billion export, 5.5 billion domestic. This is definitely not a fad. This is the way people are going. People care about their health. They're educated about their health, and they're scared of going down the polypharmacy route that their parents went down. They don't want that road. They want the alternative. Yes, they want the growing my own, eating organic, fresh food, but they also know that that's not going to happen on a day-to-day basis due to their lifestyle. Functional foods are not going away. They're increasing in importance. And as we become better educated and question our own health and lifestyle choices, more and more, I feel that functional foods, both conventional and the modified ones, have a solid place in the future of the health of our population. And done well, they are definitely better than popping pills. And I would be happy to fully endorse anything that met that strict criteria. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great, Lynda. You know, your messages and the themes that have come through are, you know, absolutely spot on, and especially, you know, aligning with the types of things that we can do in particular. And I like how you know, were speaking about minimally processed and natural additives and that sort of thing. So basically, you know, that would lead to a clean label product, which is, you know, we're seeing in the people that we work with, you know, are so in demand, and that's regardless of whereabouts they are in the world. You know, people just want, you know, most boxes ticked, and yeah, which you know, by and large, we can actually do. So, you know, really from our perspective, you know, we just need to know, you know, which boxes you want ticked, which criteria need to be met, and you know, there's so many options out there for additives. You know, whether it's you know, like texture or processing functionality or shelf life. You know, there's like really gone are the days when, you know, there's just a limited amount of artificial or chemical based additive options. There's so many that are possible. So yeah, thanks so much for that. It was really I found it really great. Really insightful, and it was fabulous.
Thank you.
Okay, so Naishad, are you going to
Yes.
share? Are you going to try and do it yourself? Because we had some technical issues earlier, and they may have been resolved to some extent.
Hi guys, we've had some technical issues. A couple of my laptops, Zoom's not working today, just when we need it. So I'm trying to share it from my phone. Just a second.
We do have a plan B and a plan C, I think, something like that. So
yes, we do.
The show will go on.
It will definitely. So yeah, just a second.
You want to take a video?
In the meantime, yeah, you know, if anyone wants to ask a quick question or two while Naishad's sorting out his presentation.
All right. Can you see that?
No, all you can see is the our logo.
All right. Not now either?
No.
I think without wasting time, you should probably start on your end. Yep. So we can quickly, let's go on plan B. So Philip's gonna share the screen, my presentation, and then I will go through those strategies.
Okay, just bearing in mind that I've got a Mac and Naishad hasn't, and therefore at least the first image is not there on the front on the first slide.
That's okay.
But I think everything else looks.
Perfect.
Looks pretty all right. Yeah.
Okay. That's great.
Hang on a second. Yeah. So we've got a bit of a blank space there, but okay, here we go.
All right. So, hello guys. I'm Naishad. I'm a academic director at Food Entrepreneurship Academy. Today, we're gonna discuss the strategies to commercialize a new food product. But before we begin, I would like to pay respect to Aboriginal communities. So let me do that first, and then we jump straight on the presentation. We at Food Entrepreneurship Academy proudly acknowledges the traditional owners, the Aboriginal communities, and the rich culture, and pay respect to their elders, past, present, and future. We also acknowledge that Aboriginal people as the Australia's first people and as the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we work and live. So that was our acknowledgement to the Aboriginal community for that. Now jumping back onto the strategies. So yes, Philip, next slide. So let's discuss before we jump onto the strategies, let's discuss what is food product development? How do you define it? It is a process of developing a new product to meet the market needs or what the consumer needs are. It is also an act of bringing food product, new food product to the marketplace. This is the whole process of NPD involves from the conceptualizing to the final marketing and the launch. So it doesn't look as simple as the diagram. It's a bit more complex. And as we go through this presentation, you'll find out the steps and everything needed for it. Next slide. Why is it important? The main reason is if it's a company, then it's all about the increasing the profit. That's saying that, but then also they need to bring out the new innovation, new method, new ideas. Consumer get bored all the time, and they're looking for new things. Consumer concerns change, these health and sustainability factors comes into picture, the technological developments. We are seeing a lot of new technological innovations in the food industry currently. So, for example, there is the cheese from biofermenter. So that's the one. And there's also milk, the meat producing in lab. So there are new technological innovations going around. So that also, and that's why it is very important. And to also changes in the target market, because if there is we've got a Milo, for example, there is a Milo in the supermarket right now, which has probably the formulation hasn't changed in 20 years. And as the target market changes, they need to sort of keep innovating. And we will discuss about Milo in the coming slides. So next one. What are the types of food product development? There are three types. One is relaunch and repositioning, which is basically renewing your existing product and introducing the old product to the new market. It could be using different marketing strategies, or it could be packaging or developing different flavors to appeal different demographic. Philip, if you next one. Yeah, so for example here, you see the Oreo biscuit in birthday cake flavor. A lot of new nostalgic flavors are becoming very, very famous and actually working well in the industry. So not just Oreo, but Peter's ice cream brought out the birthday cake flavor. So a lot of those nostalgic flavors are coming back. So it is sort of doing a relaunching and repositioning your product into the market. That's one type of food product development. The second one would be line extension, which is, fill up the next one, a new to world, which is a completely new, different product. It would be totally unrelated to pre-existing product in the market. And like what we've just developed, for a client, prebiotic soda, which is flavored prebiotic soda. And the second one is technological innovation, like manufacturing cheese through biofermentation. And that, so as I said, the technological innovations are completely different, and this takes a lot more time as well. Next one. So here there's another example from one of our clients in USA, for whom we've developed this collagen tea product, like, collagen milk powder, which comes in two different flavors. One is as more on the chai latte, and the other one as a hot chocolate, which is high protein as well. So this is completely new to the sort of product, for example. Next one. The third type of product development would be the line extension. It is just basically the revitalizing your current product with a point of difference. And it could be related, the changes could be related to dietary factors and environmental factors, health, pack size. So any minor changes, and sort of you could extend your product line that comes into this category. One more click, Philip. For example, Nestle launching Milo, plant-based Milo in Asia, and even now in Australia. So what they've done is the original traditional Milo had milk solids in it, and now it comes with pea protein, the plant-based protein into it. The reason this could be considered as a new product to the world, but the reason I put it into line extension is because traditional Milo only had 5% of dairy ingredients. So all they had to replace was 5%. So that's why I've got that into the line extension, as they didn't have to work too much on the product. They just had to work on that 5% of the formulation. And that's why it's in the line extension. Next one, please. So if you're an entrepreneur, you would think, how do I get started? Next one. Ask yourself a question. What type of product development, what type of product development are you planning to undertake from that whole list? What you've got, what is your goal? And if you are from a finance background, or if you are an accountant, or if you are an engineer, and if you don't have any much knowledge about food industry, then partner with professional like food technologists, scientists, nutritionists, or even a manufacturer. And at marketing and sales, because it does require a whole team to sort of launch your own product. Next one. And now we'll discuss 4 important steps to commercialize the food product. The first one being conceptual stage, or I also call them as an ideation stage. The second one being the strategic product design. Third one being development and trial run. And fourth one being commercialization and launch. So the first one, conceptual stage or ideation. So iterate all your ideas, right? And do a brainstorming session. Funnel down all your ideas into a narrow it down, so that at least you know what exactly you want to create. Conduct a market research and identify consumer needs. Create a solid research-based strategy to address the needs of consumers or the markets. Get feedback from substantial and unbiased audience for product validation. So mainly let's say if you want to develop a beverage, and if it's a functional beverage, do that substantial, get some feedback from the audience, who are unbiased, so that your idea gets validated, and then you get some sort of confirmation that what you are going towards, what path you are taking, is going to prove successful. And then the last one would be the evaluation. Evaluate your ideas, and then make a decision that this is what you want to do. And then along with did you really know, right? 43% of the food products fail within the first 2 years. And according to the 2018 Nelson report, the 3 major significant reasons, why the innovation fails, was neglecting to address the broad consumer needs. Second one was failing to provide a good product experience. And then the third one was providing insufficient market support. And I think these were the three significant reasons why the product actually fails. So focus on those things. Like, as I explained in the first slide, that you need to validate, you need to do market, conduct the market research and identify those needs, what you are trying to bring into the market. Next one. Strategic product design. That's the second step, which is also very important. So this is a stage where we sort of we advise clients generally that what's your product wish list? What sort of ingredients would you like to have in your product? Have you, or do some more comparison with your other brands. If you think your product's gonna be, let's say if it's in a beverage market, look around what's available currently in the beverage market. What are gonna be the sensory attributes, right? Like mouthfeel, texture, taste. As Lynda pointed out, there's plenty of food additives now these days, all the natural ones as well, which you could add to create that extra mouthfeel. So think about it. This is where you sort of strategize how your product's gonna look like at the end. What's gonna be your functional claim? Is it gonna be high fiber? Is it gonna be high protein sort of thing? And also work on what sort of regulatory requirements you require and desired nutritional claim and serve size, because these all things are important. The second part of the strategic product design would be the formulation. The reason I wrote desktop there is to try and get your recipe done on the computer to understand this is what you will create, as well as so that when you do a recipe development, all your final, as I said, high in protein or what's your serve size, is that going to match? Just to do that sort of part. So all those parts is very important during this strategy session. The other important stuff is your ingredients procurement. As from your brainstorming session, whatever ingredients you have funneled out or narrow it down, you need to procure them from the real suppliers. Look for check them, check all the ingredients, quality control, product specifications and everything. Set your quality and process parameters as well during this stage. Do your recipe development, and the most important thing, your cost of goods, cost of your ingredients are very important, because we will discuss further in the future, or on one of the other slides, what impact the cost has. So, and these are the very important stages, because if you think that one of these things are not working, then that's your time to either stop or pivot to the new ingredients. Next one. The third stage is the development and the trial run, which I call it as a fun stage, because all your hard work, what you've done, all your formulations are done now. Now that's the time, real time, sort of for you to scale up your formulated products to the larger volumes. It could be in kitchen laboratory, or it could be in pilot plants, or it could be in food incubators. That's where you will play around with your recipes. Analyze your results once you do version trials, make changes if you need to do it. Test for, if you feel we've got your product, test for the quality and regulatory parameters to set product specifications. Determine if there is any food safety concerns during this process. And also determine the shelf life, because that's the very important factor too, because you want your products to stay on the supermarket for at least, if it's a beverage, then for 1 year. And along with this, if you are working at the pilot plant or the manufacturers, then you need to do the process efficiency and also determine your accurate product cost. Next one. The commercial, this is the last stage, sorry, the commercialization and launch. So that also has 3 factors within that: manufacturing, marketing and sales, and then finance. So let's start with manufacturing. Once you've got your trial done and everything is done, then this is the time you would do full-scale production. This is also the time where you determine your packaging. You will determine your quality checks, your manufacturers would check that as well as the regulatory affairs to ensure that your product meets all the FSANS regulatory requirements. When I say FSANS, it's Food Standards Australia, New Zealand. And if it's for the export market, the required exporting, like importing country requirements you need to meet. Also here in this stage, you will also do a label design where you would need to work on your nutritional panels as well as your ingredient list. Next one. So the next one is the marketing and sales. So this is also very important, along with the more on the science, like the food development, like the product development. This is also a very important factor, which is marketing and sales. So here you will finalize your product positioning, how do you want to market, and also the price for launch. You also would determine what product attributes which you want to highlight during marketing, and then the other one would be partner. Like if you are not experienced in this, we definitely recommend you partner with e-commerce marketing companies for social media marketing, advertising, or content marketing. You could also take part in the trade shows and showcase your product, because that's where you will find a lot of distributors. So do that whole marketing and sales in the commercialization and launch stage. Next one. Finance plays a very important role. And as I said earlier, on each stage, we expect the entrepreneurs to sort of work on the costings, because the costing can blow out literally a lot. If you look at this diagram, that all different different stages, it starts with low, but by the time you arrive at the product launching stage, it actually blows out. So you need to keep that in mind. Next one. And if you are self-funded and some of with the financial support, if some entrepreneurs are self-funded, some access, some also along with self-funded, they also access government grants, bank loans, line of credits, and some also go for some has angel investors, and some people also go for a capital raise through venture capitalists. And what are the key challenges during this whole you're commercializing the project? Is the ingredient sources. We feel that's a primary one, and the cost, and also because of the pandemic, a lot of the sourcing is taking a lot of time. So that we think that's number one. Limitations with manufacturers. The reason I put that second there is because in Australia, we see a lot of issues with the manufacturing facilities. They are limited with the process, processing here in Australia, as far as what we've experienced here. The third one being creating a right team is very time consuming, because it takes a lot of people along in this journey to sort of to commercialize your, or to launch your product. And that's why we say outsource your product, development, outsource if you are outsourcing your marketing and sales. And so those are the options available. And then the last one is the financial support. But as I showed, there are options available. Next one. And this is a timeline. How long does it take? Because everybody asks that question. How long will it take, right? So if it can take from four months to 2 years. If it's a short one, relaunching or repositioning, it might take 4 to 6 months. If average time, if it's a line extension, that might take 6 months to 1 year. But the new product, or with more on the technological innovation, then it might take more, from 1 year to 2 years. And yeah, that's it. So this is where you will find that's the whole strategy of new product development and commercializing and launching a new product. Thank you. Just a sec.
Okay, yeah, there we go. So we really hope that this has been able to give those of you who have a spark of an idea, have an inkling for something that you might want to do in this space, some inspiration and some thoughts and guidance, just to see, even if it's just roughly at this stage, what sort of path is ahead, and how, what might be some of the pitfalls, what might be some of the things you can consider, so that you can go into it with your eyes a bit more open to how the process works and what's involved, and so on. So yeah, that basically wraps up us talking, presenting. So yeah, we really want to hear from anyone. If anyone has comments, questions that they want to raise and find out from either Naishad or I, and of course Lynda can be. She's happy and willing to share, no doubt, as well. So yeah, anyone.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, Lynda, I might just ask you something to get a bit more more insights. You were talking about emulsifying agents and those sorts of things in the fat, and what do you know about that? And I'm asking that from an innocent background, actually, because it's probably more Naishad's area, and he might know. He might know something, certainly, but not myself. So I'm, just sort of curious as to what you might have heard, and which additives, which emulsifiers might have some detrimental effects.
It's definitely something I think you might enjoy looking into, and I've just started looking at it, so I don't have an in-depth answer, but basically we have a requirement for fat in our diet. We need that so that we can then process all the fat soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K. And if we emulsify the fat, then it doesn't actually perform that same function, because it's not in the form that you need in order to then uptake the fat soluble vitamins. So if you're emulsifying it, it's basically, simply put, it's washing through the system. It's not actually in a fat form, and therefore, your body can't use the fat. Obviously, it depends how much emulsifier there is. If you're eating the odd thing that's got emulsifier in, that's fine. You've got enough in your diet to compensate for that. But if you eat a lot of processed food, and it's got a high level of emulsifier throughout, like a lot of the things like, I'm trying to think now of examples of emulsifiers. You probably can think of more than I can. Yeah, because I tend not to eat a lot of processed foods.
Yeah,
there are emulsifiers like xanthan gum as well as the guar gums, and they are that's the cluster bean ones. So they are the natural. And we see that it's sort of started being used a lot more in more of the plant-based product because of the lack of solubility of those proteins.
Yes.
So, and also sort of improve the mouthfeel and texture.
Yes.
Yes, and so when we work with most of the clients, we do not sort of advise them to put at the beginning. We try out to work on without it as well. But if it does not work, then we try to use any natural ones like xanthan or the guar gum,
yes,
like a gum arabica sort of thing. So those three, those are our go-to ones because they are natural and they are fiber as well.
Yeah, and there is that fine line, as I say. I mean, we eat processed food. We have to accept that we will eat it, but it's finding the best options so that you're not damaging your natural processes. And your body's pretty tough; it can handle it. But yeah, if you've got a really poor diet and you're eating a lot of these highly processed foods, then that's when that becomes a problem, because you're probably not getting a lot of the fat soluble vitamins anyway. And the ones you are getting are not really having the uptake that they need because the fat isn't in the form it needs. So yeah, a diet with some processed food, it really doesn't matter. Your body's tough enough to handle it. But yeah, if you err on the side of highly processed, then that's when it can become problematic, and you run with like a low level deficiency that you may not notice.
And I guess that's why milk that's not homogenized now I get it isn't so good.
Yeah, you need those lovely, beautiful globules of fat. They're so good for you. It's had a bad rap, but it's good.
Oh, lovely. Lovely, great, fabulous. Then, well, yeah, anyone care to add to that interesting discussion, or have anything else they want to share, ask? Yeah, okay, well,
All right.
if if we have no questions from the audience, well, yeah, any further or closing comments, Naishad, Lynda, that you want to add, want to make before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for the opportunity to speak and, put forward a nutritionist point of view. And, hopefully we are moving in that direction of, where people are thinking nutrition first. Yeah. And there is a huge market out there, and I would love more products that I can recommend.
And yeah, thanks, Lynda. Thanks for joining us and coming to our book launch, and for speaking on the wonderful topic. Yes, and I do agree with you that everybody they are putting nutrition first these days, right? And there's a lot more to do with more on the sustainable and as well as the environmental part as well. So I guess we are at a stage right now, I mean, in terms of food industry, that it's going through a revolution. The whole process, the things which hasn't changed for almost 40 years are now changing every 3 months. And we meet a lot of passionate entrepreneurs every week, and everybody's got a very unique and different idea who they want to sort of change the world with, with the products. And talking about that emulsifier, we just created this prebiotic fiber drink called Sorted, which is actual gum acacia, right? Acacia gum fiber in it, but it works as a prebiotic. So everybody is putting nutrition first. And I was actually talking to the marketing, I think, guys today, that they have 3 different segments. One's completely new, right? One's completely healthy. One's trying to make healthier than what it was before. And so, and then there are old products where, which are not healthier. Some of them are. So I think things are changing, and I think we will see the big change coming in next 10 years. I will wrap this up with saying thank you to all of us, all the people who joined us today on our book launch. So thank you. Thanks, guys.
Okay, yeah, thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you, catching up with you at some stage, face to face, or at another one of our events, or otherwise. So yeah, take care. Thanks a lot, Naishad and Lynda, and we'll see you all sometime soon. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye.
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 Bye.